Hey folks, welcome back. Um, Today we're gonna do a little bit of farming, but before I get started on that, I do want to bring up a little bit of information. So yesterday's video, I talked about a video that JCF put out on the cheapest way to do the dungeon. Now, there's debate in the Facebook community about the fact that it might not actually be the cheapest way to go, but for now, in terms of community, this appears to be, for now, what's been shown. More things are to come, apparently, from what I've read, but the essence of his video was to help us, you, me, everybody out there, to do the dungeon in the most efficient way possible. So a couple of the recommendations that he makes, or suggestions, we'll use the word suggestions in this case, revolve around weapons, armor, and then techniques that he demonstrates in his video. So after I saw that video, because I do watch his videos and I enjoy them, very much, I wanted to kind of figure out what it would cost in terms of resources from scratch, meaning not having any stockpile of weapons, things like that, in terms of what it would cost to be able to build his recommendations and go ahead and start the dungeon. So the first thing that he talks about is armor, and this is the first point in the armor section. Is something I didn't take into account in the last time that I tried the dungeon, and that was having the level 4 armor. Now, without the level 4 armor, you don't have access to that second pocket, and that second pocket is something that is extremely important, right? I didn't have it, so I ended up having to manually go into my inbox, or my inventory, change weapons, and then start the attacks and things like that. So I was getting swarmed a lot, and he does talk about that. So where he talks about having a tier 4 chest, so that's the level 4 armor, but just the chest, and then the rest of the armor, his suggestion is doing tier 2 or level 2 armor. So level 2 head, legs, boots, and gloves. So with that, he talks also about, and like I said, I'm referencing his video because I found it very useful for me in terms of knowledge, but I also realized that we don't all have stockpiles of weapons and armor and things like that. So a lot of times we got to craft it ourselves. And although it's kind of easy, you just go into your inventory, right? You go into here, you can click on whatever you want. It'll tell you how much it costs and things like that. So what I've done is essentially compiled a quick little reference guide. I don't know if I can add it to the description, but we're going to pull it up right now. And the first one we're going to pull up is for the armor. So I have the cost to build 1 set, 2 set, or 3 sets of these excuse me, of the armor that's suggested. All right, in his video he says to bring 2 sets, and that the 3rd set you're more than likely going to be able to craft it on the fly in the dungeon. Now, that's more than likely possible. I had a hard time the other day just doing a level 1. but I was also flustered, frustrated. At a certain point, just wanted to quit, but I kept on going and eventually got there. So as we can see with here, we have the tier 4 chest. Then if we craft 1 set or 2 sets or 3 sets, how much that would cost in terms of resources. Okay, so having to go out and farm, find these resources and things like that. And then we have, the tier 2 head, pants, boots, gloves, and then the totals. So the very last row is what would cost to create or craft 1 total set, 2 total sets, and 3 total sets. So if we take a look at the times 2 column at the very bottom of the totals, to be able to build or craft 2 sets of this armor, right, with the tier 4 chest and the tier 2 everything else, it'll cost you 48 heavy cloth, 46 regular cloth, 6 bronze ingots, 14 copper ingots, and 36 ropes and 34 leather. So hopefully this will give you an idea of what to concentrate your farming on, especially if you were on to head out and do the dungeon. Okay, and again, this is a suggestion that he's made, that JCF has made in his video, and like I said, I just want to show you what the cost of these are, so that you guys can refer to this. This is something that you'll be able, if I can put it in the video description somehow. I don't know if I can put attachments. I'm going to try to figure that out as we go along, but hopefully this is something that you'll be able to refer to at any time, maybe even download or keep for yourselves. So we have the different amounts of each item that is required in the crafting of all the different things. So the total gives you how much of each item you need to be able to craft, like I said, 1, 2, or 3 sets of this armor. And then I'll pull up in terms of weapons, because in the weapons section he recommends bringing 3 types of weapons. Okay, the first one, he talks about the carthill, and the carthill is to be used against the let me pull the list up here, sorry. Did I write that down? I thought I did. Yeah, the leper soldier, the plague spawn, I think, are the 2 lower level slow zombies that are in the dungeon. So the goal is to be able to use the carthill against them, and then using a stronger weapon against the possessed. Right now, the possessed, to my knowledge, has 100 health. So what we want, and this is why I chosen the the Morning Star. My God, I'm sorry. The Morning Star, the Flanged Mace, and the Falchion, because they have 34, 35, and 36 damage, which means you'll be able to 3-hit the possessed and take them out. If you have anything less than 34, you're going to need 4 hits. So I've added in here the cost of each of the Morning Star, the Flanged Mace, the Falchion, and how much it would cost to make 1, 2, or 3 of those. Because in the suggestions, he suggests that we bring 5 cartthills, 3 what he called in the video, I think, tier 2 weapons. I couldn't find any references to tier 1, 2, 3, or 4 weapons. So the advice that was given to me through the Discord channel, the Grimsoul Discord channel, was essentially 30 plus or 50 plus damage weapons. So that's where I will consider that when we want to bring, now I'm just losing my train of thought. So I'm going to step back just for a second. The recommendation that he makes is 5 cartels, 3 tier 2, and 3 tier 4. So again, like I said, the tiers weren't able to find any references really to that, but using the 30 plus damage and using the 50 plus damage, that's where we want to bring 3 of each of those. So 5 cartels, 3 30 plus damages, and 3 50 plus damages. So again, like I explained, the Morningstar, Flanged Mace, and Falchion, those have enough damage to take out the Possessed in 3 hits. So those, any combination of up to 3 of those, so it could be 1 of each, 2 of one, or 3 of one, whatever it may be, you want to bring those. So here again, I've listed out what it'll cost, and if we want to build 1 of each, then we have kind of the total cost for that. Total cost again is resources that we want to farm, find, craft, and then with the tier, I'm using air quotes here, you guys can't see it, but I'm using air quotes, and the tier 4, so the 50 plus damage, the only one that we can really craft at this moment is the Bastard Sword, and that one does 58 damage. I know the crafting recipe, if we want, can be found in the dungeon. I have yet to really see it. Like, I haven't seen anybody with it. So I still consider that as a non-craftable weapon. So those are the ones that include Scimitar, Halberd, Claymore, and Flaming Sword. So those 4 non-craftables are weapons that you're going to find, at the dealer, in the dungeon, if you're out in the red zones, if you are out on events, you have a likelihood of finding some of those. So you want to be able to bring 3 50 plus damage, and then 3 30 plus damage, and I would actually even say 34 or better, because 33 or less is a 4 hit on the Possessed, whereas 34 damage and up, that gives you 3 hits. So you save durability on your weapon, and you take less damage. Okay. So the recommendation, like I said, at this point in time, is the armor that we showed before, the list of weapons that we have now, and really the 30 plus is whatever combination that you have or that you want to craft or things like that. So hopefully this information will help, again, like I said, help you go out in your farming, try to look at what you want to concentrate on, because this, I put this together for people like myself and a lot of you that may not have stockpiles of weapons to choose from, right? So at least this way here, you have a very good reference guide to what kind of resources you need to farm, how much of it you need to farm or craft, to be able to have a solid inventory to go out and do the dungeon. So hopefully, like I said, that's something that will help everybody out. Now, I said we were going to farm. I've been at this for almost 15 minutes now. I think you guys have probably had enough of my voice at this point in time. I am going to end it on that. If I'm not able to attach or put into the description the actual files, I will figure a way out and do it at another time. But for now, you have them on screen in the video to refer to. And I'll also, if you haven't watched the JCF video, I will link that in the description, and hopefully you guys will be able to watch that, benefit from it, learn from it, because again, like I said, there's some pretty good information in there. I found it very helpful, and I think we'll be able to do a better job on our next dungeon run. All right, I've talked enough. On that note, I will wish you all a great rest of the day, morning or evening, wherever you are. Take care.